This exercise is called the curl to press using the GoRuck rucksack. With this exercise, we're really working two different movements. We're working a bicep curl into that transition into an overhead press. And the beauty of that is we get to work two different muscle groups. We get to work the curling motion of the biceps and the anterior shoulder forearm, as well as pressing through the shoulder girdle. So a really nice exercise. The real value to this movement, though, is in the core brace. We really get to work on maintaining a neutral spine position as we transition from a flexed elbow to an overhead position. That bag is going to be moving around. We're trying to keep everything tight as we go through that transition. If you see in the video, you'll see me doing my best to kind of keep that core engaged. We're trying to keep the pelvis in line with the rib cage. So my abs are engaged, pulling my ribs down into the pelvis. If you haven't looked at that core bracing video, make sure you check that out. It'll help explain diaphragm position as well as rib and pelvis position as we go through our standing press. Once I get that tight, I'm trying to keep that locked in as I transition the shoulder into a full overhead position. If you can't quite get that full shoulder overhead position, if there's anything pain, anything pinchy, anything weird in there, switch to a different pressing exercise. We have a lot of different options. Go to the shoulder library, pick one where you don't have to get your arm overhead, but it's still a pressing type movement. I really like the floor press. It's almost always safe. We can get on the floor. We still get a press, but we don't have to worry about that overhead shoulder range of motion. If you can't get that shoulder overhead range of motion, make sure you're working on your mobility drills to try to improve that as well. One other thing you want to watch for is that as you're getting overhead, you're starting to notice this rib cage is flaring out, that you're not able to maintain that rib position. It could just be technical. Get those abs engaged, lock that sucker in, stay nice and tight, think about it, right? Conscious awareness, keep nice and tight as you're going into the overhead position. If you still keep flaring, you do need to check that shoulder range of motion. Go through your clearing exam, lay flat on your back, take that arm up overhead. If you can't quite get there because there's some stiffness in the shoulder joint, we need to figure out what that is, right? If you don't have full shoulder flexion, what your brain will do is it's got to get that hand overhead. It knows that's the goal, so it's just going to arch your back, right? And it's going to get the perception that that weight is up over your head, but at the compromise of changing your spine position. So that's not a risk we're willing to take. So we need to make sure that we have full shoulder range of motion. Our options then are to modify into something where we're not quite all the way overhead, or we want to see one of our Fit for Tomorrow body professionals and make sure they're able to help us get that full shoulder flexion, right? Because if you can get that full shoulder flexion, that's going to make you more efficient in this movement. You're going to maximize your value. We're going to exercise without getting hurt, and that's what everything's about, right? So go ahead, hit this exercise. If you got that full range of motion, hit it. Stay nice and tight. It's going to be a really nice one for you. If something's missing, adjust and make sure you find the right help to get that taken care of. Thanks, guys. Looking forward to the next one.